You've probably been told that you should always use get to retrieve data and post to send some data to the server. And yes, in general that's true, but there are situations where post can actually be better than get, even when you are just technically retrieving data. And what's more, there's even a new proposed HTTP method called query designed for safe queries with a request body. So in this video, I'll show you an example of that. Imagine you have your lovely to-do list application, but not just a simple one like yours. It's very advanced. You have a lot of filtering, sorting, maybe different conditions, and you need to somehow get the proper data from the server. So naturally, you might think, okay, I'm retrieving data, so I should use get. But here's the problem. With get, you usually pass your filters through the query string in the URL, and the query has limitations when it comes to size. So you can't just put everything there if it gets too big. At some point, you are just basically in the you shall not pass Gandalf situation. So what do you do then? You could try to shorten the query, you could encode it differently, or you could split the flow into multiple steps somehow. But now the design gets more complicated. You're adding extra round trips, more state, and more complexity. Like, do you really want to make it more complex just because of that? Now technically, some people might say, okay, but can't I just put a body inside the GET request? And yes, maybe in some cases you can, but MDN and HTTP specifications say you shouldn't rely on that because a body in a GET request has no defined meaning, and some servers, proxies, or frameworks may reject it or ignore it. So that's why POST can be better here. Because with POST, sending data in a body is expected. Your API can define that the filter criteria live there. Also, you can reduce URL exposure. You're not passing everything through the URL, which can be a problem if the data is sensitive. For example, someone can copy and paste the URL and see what you are looking for, or it can be stored in the browser history, logs, or cache. Of course, this doesn't magically make it secure. You still need HTTPS and proper security, and the server can still log the request body, right? But compared to putting everything in the URL, you reduce some accidental exposure. And as always, it depends on the case. But there is one more interesting thing here I mentioned earlier. There's currently an internet draft for a new HTTP method called query. And the idea is basically, what if we had a method for queries that can send data in a request body like POST, but still has the semantics of save, idempotent, read operation more like get. But in a practice, query is still a draft, so support across browsers, servers, and so on is not something you can assume yet. That's why many APIs still use POST for complex search endpoints today. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. Bye.